Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Baz Kinder, the Commercial Director at Wellingtone, and I've been involved in Microsoft PPM and PMO now for slightly over 10 years, I would say. And today I'm joined by a guest presenter, Sukhdeep Rai, who will be sharing some useful insights from their Microsoft Project for the Web implementation journey within Aevi. Sukh, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Baz. So yes, my name is Sukhdeep Rai. I'm Program QA and Governance Manager at Aevi. I've worked in a variety of PMO roles over the last 8 years or so, starting off within food and beverage industries with brands such as Heinz and Lucozade, to then working within technology at Civica, before then moving into FinTech with Aevi in January 2022. So at Aevi, the mission was to incorporate tooling to enhance and then establish professionalism and repeatability in our project and program management approach. And I'll speak more to that journey that we've been on later in the webinar.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sukh. And actually, I've known you since your Civica days. So it's been at least, what, 4 years maybe? I'm losing track of time now. But let's very quickly move on. And I'm going to be talking about Wellingtone shortly. And Sukh's going to provide a bit of background to Aevi, a bit more than what he has done so far. Before then talking about the reasons why they, well, first of all, needed a PPM solution and why they selected Microsoft Project for the Web. And importantly, he's also going to talk about the change management approach that they adopted and the lessons learned during the journey that would benefit others. But before that, a little bit about our respective organizations. Well, I represent Wellingtone, and we will improve your project and portfolio management capability, and that's something that we actually guarantee. So if you believe our work has not improved your PPM capability, then we'll correct it, or yes, you can have your money back. It's really that simple. And we've been around since 2001. We're headquartered in Windsor, and we've also got offices in Ireland and Spain. And as you can see on the screen, we've managed to collect a few accreditations over the last 20 or so years. And we do offer a wide variety of services that span consultancy, technology, and training, with a real focus on helping our customers, such as Aevi, to improve their PPM capability. And you can read more about us at wellington.co.uk. So follow that link and take a look through the website. And here's a very small selection of some of the organizations that we've worked with over the last 20 or so years. A number of case studies are available on the website, including the Aevi story as well. So please do go and check those out. But Sukh, I'm going to hand over to you now to talk about Aevi.
Thank you, Baz. So just a little bit about Aevi to start off with. So while everyone is talking e-commerce and online payments, we believe that in-person commerce is here to stay. So with offline payments being still the majority of transactions, we historically specialize in in-person payments. And we have evolved into an orchestration platform bringing different types of payments together for our customers. These customers are companies that service merchants. So we're thinking about merchants' needs on behalf of our customers. Aevi's mission is to build a more open world where anyone, anywhere can make or take any kind of payment. Customers don't want to have to think about the point of payment, and the merchant doesn't want to do so either. They want the customer to have an ultimate checkout experience. And that's why we've built a platform that lets payments and data flow across channels and consumer touchpoints. It's customizable to precise requirements, and it connects the in-person world with digital channels, orchestrates checkout flows, and sets transactions data free. It's a flexible solution stack that provides the infrastructure needed to build a scalable payments world. If you want to learn more about the Aevi platform and how orchestration in an in-person world works, you can visit our website or look us up on our social media channels.
Brilliant. Okay, so Sukh, that brings me on to the very first question. And well, in order to start talking about your journey, let's start at the very beginning.
Yep.
What was it that highlighted the need for a PPM solution in the first place?
Okay, so while we had a framework and a methodology to manage projects and programs within Aevi, there were many reasons why a tool was needed in order to see real improvement in the way we worked. So we used Confluence, we used Microsoft Office templates, and they were often used in a very different way or different ways by different project managers, and there was no uniformity across our projects. the kind of constant use of templates with no automation was one of the reasons that there was no kind of efficiencies in terms of project management, and project management felt more administrative and cumbersome rather than a management activity focused on communication and adding real value to the business. From a PMO perspective, it was really difficult to track compliance, to process and understand gaps across all projects, as the availability of information was quite difficult, as documents were really kept on PM's desktops and not really in a central location that was available to everyone. And lastly, I think one of the major things is project information and detail was not really available or very difficult to obtain for our internal stakeholders, which meant that project status, key risks and issues were often not visible and could have led to serious consequences for project delivery.
Thanks, Sir. All of which are actually very common challenges that many organizations encounter. So as with most people in your situation looking for a brand new solution, completing due diligence is an important step to demonstrate that you've weighed up all the options and selected the best fit. So what was it that made Project for the Web the preferred option for Aevi?
So when selecting a new tool, we had a couple of viable options available to us. So these options were based upon how we can connect the existing software estate that we use. So like many businesses, we used Microsoft using the Office 365 applications for communication, but we also used Jira, which was used within our development teams to action, work and track effort. But our decision was based upon two fundamental requirements. We needed to support delivery processes for our project management teams and program management teams, and number two, from the PMO's perspective, we needed to disseminate consistent data to the wider business. So, kind of through a really rigorous kind of stakeholder requirements gathering, demos from various vendors, and kind of scoring the shortlisted systems against our business needs and requirements, it became clear that Project for the Web was the right fit for Aevi. So, you know, from a business perspective, we're a very dynamic, rapidly expanding organization. So Project for the Web's intuitive functionality, cloud-based capabilities, and iterative updates dovetail perfectly with our ambitious growth and continuous improvement strategy. Finally, I think the speed of implementation was also a really key factor for us. We didn't want to consume a lot of time and effort developing, configuring, and testing a new system. Our requirements were relatively simple, so a solution that could deliver this out of the box was important for us in order to show the business the added value as quickly as possible. And Microsoft Project for the Web made that possible for us.
And thank you very much, Sir, again. And I think the fact that you were already using Microsoft 365 as a wider platform in the organization really kind of helped that decision along as well. And for transparency, your implementation of Project for the Web was built on our Accelerator Plus pre-configured Power App. So let's now talk about benefits. And obviously, whenever you embark upon a journey to introduce a brand new solution, it has to be backed up, or normally has to be backed up, by a robust business case that should really outline the expected benefits. So what benefits have you realized so far?
Yeah, so after kind of implementing Microsoft Project for the Web, we've certainly shown the added value that an improved process supported with an effective tool can really have to our business. So one of the most important aspects of implementing a new tool is the uptake by the user community. And the ease of using Microsoft Project for the Web, along with the automation that the tool brings in managing their projects and programs, has been a massive factor in the adoption of the tool. So that was massive for us, the kind of being user intuitive and the automation that the tool would bring to us. In terms of the status of projects being automatically calculated, being able to provide different views of plans, easily assigning risks and issues and actions to team members for visibility, being able to track easily the financials all within one system are just some of the examples that some of the project managers have really called out that have made managing their project much easier. So the reporting capabilities that go hand in hand with the MS Project for the Web through Power BI have been hugely important for us since implementing the tool. So now we can generate real-time reporting on project progress, specific risks and issues, actions, and the status of projects and programs, which really helps PMO provide overviews across the entire Aevi portfolio. One of the most important benefits that has been really celebrated across our entire leadership team is making more information available on projects to our customers. So being able to share standardized reports to our customers has been greatly received, and we've had some fantastic feedback from our customers who have been really, really impressed. All in all, using MS Project for the Web has enabled the project management function to be a lot more professional to everyone within and outside of Aevi, and has certainly seen the PPM function be portrayed as a much more value-adding service for the business.
Very good, I like that. The fact that it does increase visibility of what's going on from a portfolio perspective does really help professionalize, doesn't it, the PMO and the project management functions within an organization. So let's talk about an important topic, and that is change management. And it's important because unless you win hearts and minds, it doesn't really matter how shiny or amazing the solution is, people won't use it. And that really then does defeat the purpose of deploying it in the first place. So how did you ensure a successful transition to the new ways of working?
So implementing changes has usually been the most challenging aspect of PMO. However, within Aevi, there was a huge appetite for change, which obviously was really beneficial for us, but especially within the key stakeholder group. Nevertheless, we ensured that we involved the key stakeholders right from the beginning to ensure we had total buy-in from the leadership team, which was really, really important. In terms of the colleagues using the tool, we split these into two user groups. So number one was users providing information in Project for the Web, so the project and program managers. And then number two, users receiving information from Power BI, so the leadership team. So the requirements for each were inherently linked, but we focused on the ease of use for the project and program managers, and we focused on the added value on being able to view consistent data across projects for the leadership team. So we wanted to be clear that we were not going to try to implement everything all at once. This was a very much an iterative approach and a process which had very clear deliverables for each stage that we were going to implement, and each stage would continue to add value to the business. This also gave us a baseline for us to be measured against once we implemented the tool. Along with showing the deliverables that we would implement, we were also very clear about the benefits that we would realize once the tool was implemented. Again, this clarity ensured that we had buy-in from all key stakeholders involved in using the tool.
Thank you again. And as with anything in life, when you go through an experience, you end up learning lessons, and they could be negative, but they could also be positive. So reflecting back on the journey that you've been through to implement Project for the Web, what lessons or observations would you share with anyone that's looking to walk down the same path?
Sure. So all in all, I felt, and I think most of the team felt, that the Project for the Web implementation went particularly well. There were no huge issues with go live, which was a huge positive for us. And I think one of the reasons for this was that we had the majority, if not all of the users, especially the project managers, have access to the system in the test environment, which enabled them to test the tool and suggest any specific changes prior to go live. But they also had the opportunity to get to know the tool and how it works. So that had a real benefit to when we actually went live. I think the second one is having that clear and transparent plan. So we understood what the plan was, when we were going to go live, when we were going to go into the test phase. So sharing this with the users that were migrating their existing projects over to the tool was really beneficial for us. So they knew exactly when they need to input all of the information. And there was that real smooth transition of our projects from kind of what we were working on in our documentation to actually getting all the information in the tool. I think one lesson for me in terms of a potential negative or something to learn from and correct in the future was around something that probably took the longest, was around reviewing and overcoming some of the user permissions and licensing aspects. And I think the main reason for this was really being clear on how we were going to use the tool, because we were implementing this in such a small space of time. Some of those decisions on who would access the tool and who would use it in any great detail wasn't thought about probably as much as we would have liked to. So that kind of aspect of assigning people to use the tool or getting the licensing correct was probably the early part that was a little bit unclear. So I think that was probably one of the things from a technical perspective I would probably improve on if I was doing this all over again.
Yeah, and that is a very important topic, user permissions and licensing, both very complicated, and generally speaking, environment readiness as well is something that needs a lot of thought and clarity around right at the very get-go to ensure that there aren't any hiccups down the road. But look, Suk, thank you very much for sharing the story of your Project for the Web implementation journey. Really do appreciate your time today, especially after that nightmare journey that you had into London today.
So you're welcome anytime. Appreciate it.
Anytime, very good. And look, a final cheeky question from me. Would you say that through the implementation of Project for the Web and the work that we've done, that you've improved your PPM capability?
Oh, definitely. I think that's for us has been a no-brainer, to be honest. It's definitely improved our PPM capability across the board. We're seeing a lot more standardization, uniformity across projects. And like I said, not only are our project managers benefiting, but all of our stakeholders are seeing a level of detail in terms of the information from projects, which they've found so beneficial in their conversations with customers. So yeah, it's definitely increased our PPM capability.
That's really good. That's music to my ears, and a bit of a relief from a guarantee perspective as well. But look, for all of those that have tuned in, we really do hope that you found it insightful. And to build on this, you can even read the corresponding Aevi case study that's on the case studies page of the Wellingtone website, where you'll also see a number of other customer stories as well. But in terms of next steps, so we've talked about the technology. I'm sure some of you want to see it in action. So if you do want to do that, all you need to do is drop me a line and I'd be more than happy to take you through a deep dive demo. For those of you that want to maybe understand better what an implementation would look like in your organization, so what is the implementation roadmap, how much effort's involved, what would the associated cost be, we can deliver a envisioning workshop. And for anything else, just get in touch using these details. So I've actually shared my details there, so baz.kinder@wellington.co.uk. You can also find me on LinkedIn, but Suk, your details are also on screen. So are you happy for people to ping through any questions that they might have about your journey?
Yeah, sure. So you can get me on my email, sukdeep.rai@aevi.com, or you can contact me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And whilst you are on LinkedIn, do give Wellington a follow. We share lots of updates and insights on our LinkedIn company page. And this webinar, alongside many others, do end up on our YouTube channel. So that's youtube.com/Wellington PPM. And whilst you're there, do subscribe. And with that in mind, we are now going to move towards some Q&A.